Guys, welcome once again to my channel. My name is Miss K and I'm a Ghanaian based YouTuber. I make videos from Accra, Ghana on real estate, properties for sale, properties for lease. If you have a building you want listed, you can contact me. And then I also do travel and tours. You are welcome to my channel. If today is your first time, don't go anywhere. I'm going to be sharing with you very important information in this video. We are talking about permits, how to get it, what it is, the process, and everything you need to know. Stay tuned. If you watched my last video, you will know I am building something and I'm going to take you through the process. So this is where we are now. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and don't leave this channel without subscribing, okay? Now, guys, so let's get right into the video. Yes, today I'm doing a sit down. I'm going nowhere. I just want to sit here nicely, pretty, and then share with you what I have. So in my last video where I spoke about getting my building drawings ready and everything, you know, if you watched it, if you haven't watched it, I'm going to link it in the cards above and then you can go and watch it. But if you watched it, you will know that I ended at the point where I said we were heading to the municipal assembly to obtain a permit to get the building going. So what it is that you cannot build anything like commercial property, residential property anywhere without obtaining a permit. If you live in Ghana, you go around sometimes, you realize that there are people that are building and there's this red paint written on it, produce permit, and then you see the municipal assembly's date and then their signature and everything on the building. It only shows you that those people did not obtain a permit, they didn't go through the right process before building. By legal implication, before you build anything, you need to go through the municipal assembly, get your building permit sorted out, let them come and check whether where you are building is the right place to build, your drawings, everything that is going to go into that building is checked out to know whether you are doing the right thing before you build. And I got a lot of questions coming to my DM asking me to share what happened after. Like, people wanted to know the process to go through in acquiring the building permit, and then they also wanted to know how much it costed me. You know, all those questions came through, and I thought that I should dedicate this video to that before we move on to the cost of the building itself, as I mentioned before. So what is a permit? I'm sure before we even talk about it, we should know what actually a building permit is. I'm going to share with you from my book. I have it written down here so that I don't make any mistakes. Yes. One of the things that came to me when I went to see the developers last time was the fact that somebody that I went with was telling me that it is very important to get a building permit before you build, because sometimes you realize that people build like legally. You have your plot in a good place and everything, and you build, and one day maybe government wants to do an expansion or something like that, and they want to maybe demolish buildings, but then they want to settle the people in that area because you are legally entitled to your property, but then because of government infrastructure and everything, they are going to demolish your property. One of the things that will make government pay you a good compensation is producing permits. That, yes, indeed, before I started this building, I obtained permits. Government gave me permits. They came to check, they came to inspect, and I was told that I could do this. Show them your permit certificate and you are good to go. But if you don't have that thing, sometimes you go through a lot when there's a case, like I'm just giving you that scenario. When there's a case like that, and you have to be demolished, it will be like, well, in the first place, you didn't even acquire the property, or you didn't even build the property with permit from government. So you suffer in gaining what is due you. And it was really something that enlightened me. I thought I should share with you so that you don't make that mistake of saying that, oh, it is normal. Let me start building before. I'm sure some people start before they go and acquire the permit and all that. But if you want to really go through the right process, just follow these steps and you are good to go. It is not difficult. It is not difficult at all. And now, for those of you who are even living outside, who may not be able to come in manually yourself to do it, there's a portal, an online permit portal that has been shared, that you can go on and then go through, do your register your whatever is done manually and acquire your permit online. I'm going to share the link with you here and a short advert on it with you, how to the process at the end of the video. So please don't go anywhere, stay tuned. So like I was saying, what is a permit? A building or development permit is actually a written document from the Metropolitan Assembly, or now we call them Municipal Assembly, that is giving you to carry out developments based on conditions specified within the permit. Yeah, so if it's a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom house, whatever document that is giving you legally is going to cover that. It's going to cover what your drawings indicated. It's going to cover what your plan indicated and everything. That is basically what a building permit is. And it says that each permit issued gives consideration to matters relating to zoning, planning standards, and then the structural conditions of the proposed building. So basically that is what a permit is about. And the next thing that I'm going to be sharing with you is that before you start the permit process, you need a checklist. I think it's a 6-step list that you use in acquiring the whole thing. Like, you need to get your checklist right, as in what do I need to acquire this building permit that we are talking about. You know, let's say you're having a wedding and you are planning your program and everything. Definitely you put in a checklist to know who is taking care of the event, who is the vendor, who is this, who is that. It's the same process when it comes to acquiring a building permit. Yeah, so what you see here is what the assembly has placed there to show you the process. You can slow it down and then probably read everything. This is the 6-step, the 7, I don't know why I keep saying 7-step process to acquiring the permit. And then when you get to this point, it talks about those who flout, the penalty, and all the information you need to know. That is what I am showing you on your screen right now. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing those 6 steps with you. Sometimes it can be more or it can be about 7, depending on what you are building. So, depending on the scale of your building project and the area, you might require a combination of the documents that I am listing below. If it's a commercial property, you may need more. If it's a residential property, when I talk about commercial property, I'm talking about maybe shops, offices, and all that. You may need to go a step further with the documents, like more documents, as compared to acquiring a permit for a residential property that you are going to live in. So the first thing to check for is your building permit application form, which you apply for at the municipal assembly. I think it costs about 100 cedis to get the application form from the assembly. And then you also need your title search, where they search with the Lands Commission, or you search with the Lands Commission where like the land is situated, whether it is earmarked for something else other than what you are going to use it for. And then your indenture, you get your building indenture or deed of assignment, and then, or maybe your land title certificate. So it's either your indenture or your land title certificate. I showed you copies of that in my video when I was about to go to the assembly. Also need your architectural and structural drawings. So the next thing on your checklist is your architectural drawings and then your structural drawings, which the developers normally do for you, and then they legally get it printed out, signed. I think you need 4 copies of that, because if you take 4 copies to the assembly, once they are done with everything, they return 2 back to you that you are going to use on site to build. If you take 3 to them, then in that case they give you back 1 to go back with. Yes, so basically with the residential property permit, those are the things you need: the indenture, the structural drawings and architectural drawings, your search document, and that. But if you are building a commercial property, like I mentioned earlier, you would need to go a step further, and with that you would need to produce, maybe in addition to what we have mentioned before, fire reports, mechanical and services drawing. You may need to produce an environmental permit to show that you have permit for the place, or for the business that you are about to set up there. Property rates, site plan to scale, and everything. Like, you would also need to pay for submission. So after applying and producing the documents, you would need to pay for submission. So you can add that to your checklist. That is like fee for submission. I think that is about 50 cedis at the assembly. So yeah, basically that is your checklist that you put together before you get to the assembly and begin the process for your permit. Yeah, so once the checklist is ready and all the things that you have listed on it is ticked, as in you have them ready, you can then proceed to the assembly, put in your application, pay your application and then submission fee, and then an officer will go through the next step, which is the vetting process. So they vet the documents that you have brought, go through them, check, do you have this in place? Do you have the indenture? Do you have this? Do you have that? Are your drawings correct? Are the sizes okay? Is ventilation in place? Is this one in place? Is that, you know what I mean? So they vet the documents by going through your plan and all the documents that you have brought to ensure that you are in line, like you are doing the right thing. After that, you move on to the next step of the process, which is the site inspection process. And with the site inspection process, the officer in charge gives you a date, or if they are available that day, they may come with you to the site to have a look at where the property is situated. Yeah, so in our case, this is a video. What you see in your shots now is a video of when they came to check the site to verify whether everything on site actually works or aligns with what we have on paper. That's the officer you see in your shots there going round and checking. So yes, that is the next stage. We came with the developers and then the officer from the assembly. After checking and he being satisfied, we then go back to the municipal assembly, and then with the drawings and everything that we have given him, he now gives us the bill for our permit. So that, I cannot tell you that it is this amount or it is that amount. I think I mentioned the draft bill that was given to us before, but that depends on what you are building. So if you are building a 3-bedroom house, your bill will be different from me building a 2-bedroom house. It is different from each person depending on what you are building and whether it is residential or even a commercial property. So once the bill is given out to you, you then proceed to make payment of that. So once you make payment, your application is then sorted, and then they maybe give you some time to go and come back for the certificate of permit. But then you have the receipt. So once you have the receipt, that is given to you by the assembly, I think you can proceed and even start your building without waiting for the certificate. When the certificate comes early, yes, fine. I think it takes about 2 weeks or 4 weeks to get the certificate ready. But while waiting for the certificate, you can start building. Maybe go to site with your receipts, so that each time maybe any members of the assembly passes by and they ask about the permit, you can just tell them that you are in the process of acquiring it. This is your receipt, it is not yet ready. Basically, that is it. So those are the steps you need. It is very, very simple. You don't need middlemen. You can go there yourself. If you don't want to go there yourself, you can go through this process of the online registration that I'm going to share with you.
How to access this? Simple.
Visit www.buildingpermitsgh.org/permits/cpp/home. Select Create an account. Fill in your personal information like name, gender, address, email, contact numbers, and others on the pop-up menu. Use the same menu to create your username and password. Click on Create Account. You will be notified that your account has been created successfully. Close the pop-up menu and click Login. Type in your username and password on the Permit Processing System page and click Login. Now, to submit an application, choose Development Permit. Read the instructions and requirements and click Apply Now. Fill in all the necessary application information and click Finish. You will be notified of a successful permit application with temporary application reference number, which you will quote anytime you contact the assembly.
But it doesn't also mean that every permit is granted. Sometimes your permits may be rejected because you may not have your... Once they come and check, they realize that everything is not in place or things are not being done like they are supposed to do. They can reject your permit, but that's not the end of everything. You can go back and then get things done properly again, come back and reapply, and you're good to go. So after all this is done, then you come to the final step, which is your permit certificate. Yeah, so for me, I haven't received my certificate of permit yet. I'm sure it will be ready in about 2 to 3 weeks. I'll pick it up and I'm going to show it to you in subsequent videos. But basically, these are the steps in acquiring the permit. If you have any more questions for me, you can always ask me in the comment section. And like I always say, don't leave my channel without subscribing. I love you and have a sweet, sweet Valentine. Mwah.